Such is life. Fantastic. Okay, much earlier black bear, in addition to getting jumped around quite a bit by our phantom friend there. Just trying to think of a fantastic pun that would still read well over verbal cues, but alack alas, here we are. Holy, well that was quite the crew of friends. I expected that to go much worse for ourselves, so I guess can't complain too much. There we go, this time around we get the fire, and that definitely proves to be just slightly more antagonistic to our intents here. Not the end of the world by any means, fortunately enough. Ooh, and hello, random collection of altars. Unfortunately, still nothing that we're looking for there. Again, we could swap it up. The only options here that we haven't already done are Ered and Zom. We really wanted to have some fun, but I'm a sucker for Chaos Knight starts. If you're gonna win with Zom, I feel like you gotta commit from the very start. A Burial Acolyte. What the heck are you, my friend? I'm shocked that we haven't run into this before. Maybe it's just a special little vault area. Ah, that it would be. Hello, Kiku, goodbye. Unfortunately, and you're not quite in the vein of what we're aiming for here this evening. Ooh, we do see Holy Branded Weapon, and fight just an absurd number of enemies coming in from the top there. But Fire Resistance Armor could be lovely. With the +1, I think that might bring it to just 1 AC below, 2 AC below our current. So maybe we won't swap to it right away. There's not exactly a huge amount of risk that we run into fire damage this early on. Ooh, and Ribbit giving us a bit more trouble than expected. You know what? That also didn't work out very well. Let's drink something random. Yikes. Ribbit, if you could just head over yonder, please and thank you, my friend. I'm gonna head upstairs, rest up. And oof, that degeneration potion almost turning us mindless. Also not really ideal by any stretch, but it is how it is. Oh my gosh, I've gotten so used to Ribbit being kind of a nothing pushover. I guess you deal 20 damage, so you are a very early game yak. But fortunately we're able to take them out there. Did end up using a might potion just to try and guarantee that that final hit did the job. Not sure if that was really necessary, but at the end they're still happy to play it a little bit safe, and hey, we made it through, so that's all that really matters here, and survive at least long enough to once again make our way to the true faith, as it were. That would be lovely. I mean, that's the true faith in my books. Greed is good. Hell yeah, brother. But unfortunately, Gozeg, not exactly what we were aiming for today. And there we go. This time around, we do see the Shining One. Ooh, we actually see all three of them. DSO Zin and Ellie. Do I want to go Ellie again? The Shining One is probably the god, one of the three good gods, I should say. Shining One is definitely the one I have the most experience with and comfort piloting, just because they're one of my favorite 15 rune gods. But again, let's make things a little more interesting. I am more attracted to Ellie now than I was back in the day, because it always felt weird when you just weren't able to kill things whatsoever. Definitely very much changed the way that the game was played. Oof. Well, I probably should have just closed that door. Oh, and then I got a gap and could have left. Yikes. Well, I guess sometimes when you make mistakes and you're forced to just go through with it, you learn that maybe you were stronger than you thought after all, except I do not wish to tangle with the rest of those tangos, so I again should have closed the door behind me. Not exactly following through with the most intelligent of decisions, especially since I was just heading into a dead end. So that's not great. I can probably take you kiddos one by one, as long as you're happy to just filter in a few at a time. Close that door before I make any more mistakes. Okay, slimes can eat through doors. It makes sense. Arguably could have thought that through and come to the same conclusion, but still hate to see it for sure. And Eustachio, oh, son of a gun. The Phantom is actually a problem. I was hoping to take Eustachio upstairs there, but I think that we are, in very short order, gonna find ourselves in a heap of trouble here. There we go. Just murder Eustachio real quick and then get the heck out of Dodge. Beautiful. And even more slimes. A bit of a theme going on to the dungeon so far. Very interesting. To see no axes on our orc friends, or at least none worth switching to, unfortunately. But ooh, we can now purify ourselves. Oh, and I think with that upgrade, Potions of Degeneration also got ID'd for us. Or maybe we just saw an orc pick one, or drink one rather, and knew what it did. Regardless, I don't mind that whatsoever. Then we'll hide behind some of the other kobolds. We'll wait for our Curari dart wielding friend to join the fray. Fantastic. At the very least, if we did get hit with Curari, the poison and the slowness both can be purified. So that's fantastic. One thing I would like to do is potentially start training Invo a little bit earlier than we otherwise might. Just so that by the time the heals come online, there's a pretty good chance that we'll already be able to start pacifying our friends here. We shall see how it goes, I guess. Not too shabby here whatsoever. Leather armor. Do you know what? We don't have to make the decision. It's always tough when you face an early game troll on a melee character because the regen is just so strong. Like, adding the sustainability to your encounters is huge, but going down that many armor class points when we're on someone that's, meant to be a little bit more robust in that regard can be tough to get away with. And I don't mind, okay, if we got lethally poisoned there, I was ready to start bringing out the purification guns, but that's fine. When do I start identifying my scrolls? I think the safest answer to that question would be too late. Too late is when I generally start IDing my scrolls. I mean, we have a stack of 6, so by all means, we should have already been started here, so we'll just head to the stairwell. I guess we could have just played it off, acted like this was the moment that we were always going to get started, but I wouldn't lie to all of you lovely folks like that. And let's just start churning through a bunch of these bad boys. We have one more ID scroll at our disposal. Not horrible. We got Fear, which is huge. Magic mapping is nice if we do come across like a very early gauntlet or something like that we desperately want to find the entrance to. And then the other thing I noticed in that ID streak is that we got Berserk potions. So again, I'm feeling like we could use some strategic berserking to our advantage here with Ellie. Get the power boost. You know what? Hornet. Oof. The paralysis is actually a big problem. But I thought that was a good opportunity to try it out. We didn't end up doing the fancy trick there because there were no other enemies. But of course, if there were, we could have cleansed both the poison and the slow with our God-given abilities there. But hey, it is what it is. And up to level 10 in a jiffy. Fantastic. Let's pop around this corner. Again, could get rid of the slow there as well. I'm sure there will come a time. Don't get me wrong. I know it seems so far like we're just rolling with the slows and not bothering to purify, but I'm guessing that we'll desperately want to change that in the future. Hello, Maurice, with your Dagger of Distortion. I don't think I have the invocation level to convert you, my friend. With, 60 HP. I don't think that's happening. Can't paralyze you. could poison you. Still risky though, just because unfortunately as a melee character we'll have to duke it out for a little bit. So even if they're slowed, we might get a couple of hits coming in from that distortion dagger, which is not ideal by any stretch, but let us try something out here. Curare you, and then do I want to stack poison or just start blasting with the flame wand? 2d10 will get through to you eventually. Yes, 46% chance to hit. Does that change at all? Okay, we're slightly more likely to hit with the flame wand. I don't like that though. Maurice blinking out and coming back from an indeterminate distance away, and this time around no longer curaried, is not ideal. Could Charming Wand and park him upstairs. Don't hate that. Let's take a peek, shall we? 49%. We'll need the line of sight on you, my friend. So, oof. Sir? Perfect. Okay. Made friends. Come upstairs. And run away. Now the nightmare edition of that choice is that when we come back on our orb run, I completely forget that they exist. Maggie with a halberd of distortion. Sure, why not join the fun? You son of a gun. Oh, you're wearing Swamp Dragon scales, so I can't actually curare you either. Whoopsie daisies. Why did we lose 2 darts there? Interesting. Well, I'm not 100% sure what's a hip-hop happening. I guess I can also befriend you, Maggie. Though, a little bit trickier to do so, especially with that damage coming in. Not grand by any means. Okay, come on. Come on, Maggie. There we go. And by our powers combined, let's just take you out. Oh. Jeez Louise. Climbed upwards. How did I get pushed off the stairwell? Oh, I got hit by Maurice. Oh, what fun. What a pleasure. Okay, well the ice blast might just kill me. Oh, man. I probably should, like, fear scroll. I mean, Maurice is at least now distracted by Maggie, but... Okay, both of you just head that general direction, please and thank you. Then we're gonna go this way and just sprint for our very lives. And now we've parked 2 distortion brands, so how about that? By the time we come back, we can tuck him into bed with 1 tap. That's the hope, right? I guess the issue that we were describing earlier is just if we get unlucky and have 1 nasty encounter or 1 unfortunate hit come through, then we might be in trouble. Well, I guess I'm gonna berserk. This is not good, and I'm likely dead. Oh, never mind, I'm a genius. Probably shouldn't be berserking in that situation, at least not until we have a heal on our side. But hey, I guess all's well that ends well. And definitely didn't want to be taking anybody upstairs anytime soon, because we have far too many friends awaiting our glorious return up that way. Ooh, we do get acquirement ID'd. I always randomly start IDing our lower stacks, just crossing my fingers and hoping we get lucky, and sometimes it does just work. Let's take a peek, shall we? Ooh, the elemental staff is incredible. Do I want to swap over to staves? It It's been too long since we were an axe wielder. I was just getting back into the swing of things. I mean, an enchanted kite shield is always solid, for sure. Can't complain too much about that. Can I say no to the elemental staff? Is what the question becomes, I feel. It's actually not bad on melee, for sure, especially with that little bit of armor class this early on, as well as just getting a good selection of resistances. Again, I think potentially the quote-unquote correct play here is probably to go elemental staff and swap it up. But I'm tempted to just run it and see what happens. Stay with our axes for now. Or do I leave this by the wayside? I mean, we're currently still training some of our axes. We might not even actually need to train that up more. No, okay, it is 16. It's 18 for broad axes. For whatever reasons, war axes and broad axes, I get the min delay training level wrong in my head all the time. I don't think it's even because they used to be the slightly lower values. I think it's just bad brain syndrome, but who can say? Now I'm just going to be antagonizing over that decision, though. Do I want to use the elemental staff? I feel like we've gotten it on a few runs as of late, and each time I've kind of talked myself off the ledge. Bit of wasted experience in axes doesn't actually matter at all, especially on a 3-rune run with a melee character. It's not like I'm gonna have much to train anyway, besides, you know, leaving throwing and invocations on to max out at some stage later down the road, probably fighting as well. I should just do something here so it doesn't burn me up from the inside. Especially since I will also pass on that annoyance to your side as I just keep opening this menu and gazing at it longingly, trying to debate what I feel like doing with my life. Decision making, especially when those decisions don't actually matter too much in the long run, definitely not my strong suit by any means. Man of Axe is only really useful if we end up going for like a 2-handed axe. I mean, a nice executioner's axe could be fine, could be lovely. I'm gonna say no, I think, to elemental staff. And as soon as I say it out loud, I kind of hate myself, but much to the chagrin of potentially many watching at home, I think we'll say nay. Go for positive energy. As I pause. I mean, I could pretend that I'm just pausing for dramatic effect, but it is my brain waging war against itself. Which means I probably should have just switched over to using the staff. But hey, here we are. We've made our bed, and now we must sleep in it with those choices. Regretful as they may be, definitely can use the door against our loved friend here. A +4 orc bow on that centaur. Yikes. Shield is your choice, you're biting your lip. Well, I appreciate the validation after the fact here. Makes me feel slightly better about choosing the potentially less fun choice. But still a good time. In fact, I can probably just swap up to that now. Does slow our attack, but not by a whole lot. And we can just turn shields on in the background and get that training as well. Holy moly. The bees are kind of annoying because it's at this stage kind of just death by 1,000 cuts. They're not poisoning me enough that I'm starting to want to purify. But definitely enough venom flowing in my veins that I was getting slightly concerned. And what are you using, my friend? A glaive of flaming, eh? After how our last encounter with an orc warrior went, I was a bit concerned as to exactly how that encounter would go, but fortunately not really the end of the world by any stretch. And we'll keep churning through our various consumables here. Hopefully a few more ID scrolls show up in relatively short order. And, oh god, not the bees. But much better this time, a bit more straightforward. Again, they're actually dealing more damage than I would have expected to at 13 armor class. I'd hope that we're able to roll around them slightly more efficiently, or effectively, I guess is the better word. But at the end of the day, I guess it all worked out, so I can't exactly complain. Ooh, and we hear the roar of battle. Is that worth one of my early magic mapping? I mean, I can probably just find it right now. Just pick a direction. I'm gonna keep heading hard east here. Ooh, Hat of Seen visible. Don't mind if I do. Definitely pop that son of a gun on immediately here. And very distant portcullis. At some point I have to make the call, and probably sooner rather than later make the call on whether we wish to risk it. It's still very distant. Let's map this out. Okay, it does look like we have a better stairwell over yonder, so I'm gonna head up here. Hopefully, I was gonna say hopefully it's not too far, and it actually ended up being quite close. And so with that, we can definitely pop down. And this is the harder of the Bailey entrances to find. I generally prefer when it's like covered by water. That's why I actually got excited when I saw this water here, because without the electric eel, that was a pretty good indication that we were getting to the Bailey.